Welcome back to Press Review. Let's start by taking a look at today's front pages in the Middle East. The Jerusalem Post leads reporting that sources close to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have said that he will continue deliberating on how to handle the race for president until the last minute and most likely will not endorse any candidate. The paper also reports that Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman has attacked the hypocrisy in the American and European request for a thorough investigation into the killings of 2 Palestinian teenagers. The Daily Star reports from Beirut that the presidential election session has failed once again over lack of quorum, as Speaker Nabih Berri reiterated that Parliament would remain in open session until the end of the week to vote for a new head of state. The paper also reports that Turkish police fired tear gas to disperse protesters throwing petrol bombs and stones in the Istanbul district of Ekmeydani, with 1 person seriously wounded. The UAE's Gulf News leads its front page reporting that the United Arab Emirates has the most efficient government, the strongest decision-making and the highest bureaucracy in the world, according to a report by the Swiss-based International Institute for Management Development. The paper also reports that in a goodwill gesture, India has invited its South Asian neighbors to attend Monday's swearing-in ceremony of the new government, including Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. Saudi Arabia's Arab News reports that according to the International Monetary Fund, Saudi Arabia continues to play a systematic role in stabilizing the global oil market, which contributes positively to the global economy. The paper also reports that engineers at the French railway network forgot to measure the actual distance between track and platforms for the new trains that were to be introduced between now and 2016, an error that will cost 50 million euros to fix. And Egypt Independent reports that Abdulaziz Salman, Secretary General of the High Elections Committee, said at a news conference that Field Marshal Abdel Fattah Sisi won 296,628 expatriate votes, while Hamdin Sabahi won 17,207 votes. The paper also reports at least 2 people were killed when heavy fighting erupted near the Libyan capital of Tripoli 2 days after gunmen stormed parliament. And now let's take a look at the top Middle East news from UK papers. The Guardian leads Middle East news reporting that a doctor is to stand trial in Egypt on charges of female genital mutilation today, the first case of its kind in a country where the practice is illegal but widely accepted. The paper says activists warned that the landmark case was just one small step towards eradicating the practice, as villagers openly promised to uphold the tradition, and the local police chief said it was near impossible to stamp out. The Independent reports that the Syrian civil war has led to a surge in cannabis production in Lebanon as the country's army is forced to focus on security rather than drug eradication. The paper says the increase in cannabis farming comes as the FBI in the United States is considering waiving its rules on use of the drug to help it recruit hackers. And now let's take a look at top Middle East news in international papers. From Germany, the Deutsche Welle leads its Middle East news reporting that in the context of the Syrian war, Lebanon has emerged as a benevolent neighbor willing to open its borders, homes and schools to refugees. But migrant domestic workers say they find themselves enduring a different kind of burden as victims of a system that facilitates exploitation and abuse. China's Global Times reports that several thousands of the pro-secession Southern Movement staged protests in Yemen's southern port city of Aden to renew calls for separation from the north. The protests were organized by the separatist Southern Movement and high-ranking leaders of the former South Yemen, which was an independent state until it united with the north in 1990. And finally, the Washington Post reports that the former general who is leading an armed uprising in Libya has proposed that an emergency government be named to resolve what may be the country's most serious political crisis since the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The paper adds that Khalifa Haftar has steadily picked up support in recent days from current and former military officers and the militias that dominate many cities. That that was it for today. For more updates, please visit levant.tv. Thanks for watching. We will be with you again tomorrow, and bye for now.